This is the MeatEater Podcast coming at you shirtless, severely bug-bitten, and in my case, underwearless.
We hunt the MeatEater Podcast.
You can't predict anything.
The MeatEater Podcast is brought to you by First Light. Whether you're checking trail cams, hanging deer stands, or scouting for elk, First Light has performance apparel to support every hunter in every environment. Check it out at firstlight.com. FIRSTLITE.com. Just for you listeners out there, sometimes something will be happening before we're ready, and someone will say something, and I'll think that should be in the show. And Chili's sharing with us about getting his ass kicked by an Olympic wrestler.
Yeah.
Which is fitting because we have with us a gold medal archer from the 2024 Paris Paralympics. I'm actually holding his gold medal. Matt Stutzman is here today in the studio. Mm-hmm. And Chili's trying to find a point of connection with him.
I was doing
it. And in trying to find a point of connection to him, he's like, "Oh, you're an Olympic gold medalist, are you?" Well,
I won a pink ribbon and then got
beat up by a medalist one time.
Yeah.
Did he have arms?
He did.
No.
He did. Yeah.
So tell us what happened, Chili.
Oh, this fella named Lincoln McIlravy, Olympic gold medalist wrestler, came to South Dakota and put on a wrestling clinic. And he'd like always pull up someone to demonstrate a move or whatever. And he was explaining to us that like a lot of the technique and power comes from your legs. And so he actually put his arms behind his back and he did like a little leg sweep of my legs with his right leg. And I did like a backflip.
Whoa. So he literally beat
I was also
you
like 12
with his
years
arms
old.
tied behind his back.
Yeah.
There's a chance for me to wrestle. I might be able to wrestle. Let me meet this guy.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just it's my first lesson.
Wait, you were 12? How old was this guy?
Oh, he's like 35, 40, somewhere in
Seems
there.
a little
Yeah.
awkward.
And he's
I mean, at
That'll
that
get you
point,
arrested.
you don't need to be an Olympic wrestler to beat up a 12-year-old, right?
no, but he sure was. And did.
This gold medal's heavy.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous because I've never actually held it yet, but I'll take your word for it.
Once again,
I think it weighs like a pound.
joined today by Matt Stutzman, the 2024 Stutzman. I'm doing that right?
Yep, Stutzman.
2024 Paris Paralympics gold medal archer and bow hunter. 0 arms.
For those of you listening, you might have picked up
zero
on a couple
arms.
of Matt's.
I do a lot of hands. I talk with my hands, which is weird.
Dude, when I was watching you shoot, when you won the gold medal, you were shooting again. I don't know. I don't want to be. Your how do I put this? Your opponent had both his arms.
Yeah, so it's actually. I just want to be the best in the world, so I was just like,
You take
I
it
don't
all.
care. Yeah, bring it on. I don't care. And then if I lose, I have an excuse. He had arms.
Yeah. It was, my favorite. Your form. Your form is so polished to the point where I don't know if you know this. To the point where when you're at full draw, the corner of your mouth does the same thing every time. The other corner of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Like. It's incredible. You know what my favorite part of your form is, though?
The flinch?
No. My favorite part of your form is that when you shoot, your release winds up over your shoulder.
It actually taps me on the back, says good job on that 10.
And then your move that flops the move that flops your release back to the front is polished.
I've been practicing that one.
It's like a little flick of your shoulder, and all of a sudden, whoop, that release comes back around. That's my favorite part of the shot. It's the between shot part of the shot that's good.
I wish I could tell people there was times during the shot process where the announcers would say I was flinching.
I know. I didn't. What was he talking about?
Well, like he would see me jerk or something like that. But if you notice, I had so much control over my shot. It's that moment where your brain's like, shoot now, and then you just have a mental freak out and you just shoot. Well, usually usually people shoot when that happens and the arrow goes wide or goes over. I'm able to control it. And so when it's not right, but my body says shoot, but I'm not ready to shoot, I can flinch and control the shot and not actually shoot the shot and then reset mentally to make it work again without letting down.
Yeah. I have a thing where, I'm real. I don't want to hack on him. I wasn't impressed with the announcing.
The guy that was announcing, his name was John Stubbs, and probably because he's never beaten me in 12 years of competition, and he's now retired. So I feel like I got a little bit of slack, a little bit of stuff coming because of that. Yeah.
Got it. We're gonna dig into all this in your whole bio and everything, but what when they're calling those shots on the 10s, they're calling them as what's French for 10?
I don't know.
No, they do. Deuce.
Deutsch. It might be dos.
Deutsch.
It's dies.
Yeah, that's right. They go
dies
dies 10. Dies 10. So we're gonna get into all that. We got to do a couple things real quick. You can chime in though. Corinne and I owe everybody a huge policy. What's the word I'm saying?
Apology.
Corinne and I owe listeners a huge apology, but just to help it make it better, I want you to know that we lost out too.
Yeah, we both did.
We both gave our money away accidentally as well. On going way back, October 11th, so going back a month ago, we were pimping a Arizona Big Game Super Raffle. Okay. To remind listeners, Arizona's Game Commission had voted to move away from what's called governor's tags. And they're hoping to do raffle tags to allocate these permits in a more democratic fashion for an inexpensive raffle ticket. And so we're talking about the budget, the financial man, it's going to be a rough morning for me. I don't know what happened. I thought I slept fine.
The revenues produced by it.
Raffle versus
auction.
So they used to auction the governor's tags off in Arizona, and it raised a whole boatload of money. They're moving away from that, and they're going to raffles versus auctions. And it's projected that the money coming in will shrink now because raffles aren't as profitable as auctions have been. To help with this budget shortfall or financial shortfall, we were promoting to people, hey, go on and buy Arizona Big Game Super Raffle tickets. I went and spent a whopping $100 on Mule Deer Super Raffle tickets. Corinne went in for a whopping $150.
I'm just going to make one correction.
And then
that
someone
was in the duck stamp contest episode, if anyone is searching for
the duck
it.
stamp. No. That was not when we did that.
It's in my notes. I just checked it.
Corinne, I don't care what your notes say. That was not when we had the duck stamp painter in here.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, everyone.
It just wasn't.
Yeah, it was. It's in my notes.
I will bet you $5.
Is it hot in here?
No.
It doesn't really matter. We can just move on.
Episode 611, the Duck Stamp Champ. It is in the show notes, the Arizona raffle. So that's in there.
Wrong.
We did. We talked about this.
When I went in and said I spent it's just not right. But either way, I'm right. I'm correct.
Either way, I'm right. Whether I'm right or wrong, I'm right.
The problem is, for all you people that went out and did this is almost like how they allow you to do it when you can't do it, I don't know. But you have to be present in Arizona.
Yeah.
Why would they let me do it?
At the time of purchasing,
that's one of those
because
deals.
it's complicated with rules
Well, I know, but
and
it should have a thing that says, "Hey, are you sure you're there?" Because that's fine. I can have my $100.
Yeah,
my kids will still eat, but
they'll
why would they allow you to make such a mistake?
So a couple
you can't
of
buy
things.
You can't just go buy licenses.
A couple of things. I accept full responsibility for not reading the instructions. Thank you to the podcast listener who did and then sent in the correction. but it's very complicated for them to prevent that. When they're actually looking at, when they're drawing, they will be able to identify based on IP address where the computer was purchased at the time of purchase. But they have graciously offered to return the money of any podcast listener who bought their raffle tickets
this real?
upon hearing our announcement.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they have.
wow.
Yeah.
I'm only out 95 because I just won 5 in a bet.
You actually lost
Related to this, Corinne's now out 155.
We're gonna have to play that podcast back.
Corinne's out 155. I'm out 95. I'm gonna let him I'm putting it in my mind that it was a donation, which I kind of felt like it was when I put in for the thing,
I know,
anyways.
based on our chances.
Yeah, I never win that kind of stuff.
Do they cap the raffles?
No, that's the whole no.
So they could be a million tickets at
You're not
$100.
gonna win.
Yeah.
Everyone wins.
Someone wins.
Everyone's gonna win.
Mm-hmm. Well, they also have like other prizes and stuff too. Like
They have a ton
Shields,
of
Collard,
prizes.
Swarovskis, and
But we do want to encourage everyone in Arizona or everyone visiting in Arizona to continue to buy raffle tickets, and I think it's up until Christmas Day. I think it's.
So you're saying I got to fly to Arizona,
Yes.
buy the ticket in Arizona, then I could fly home,
Yes.
and then I could use it.
Yep,
That'd be great.
If you're stop over at the Phoenix airport, that's where to.
But in all seriousness, if you did that, in all seriousness, apologies, and we take a lot of the blame. But I also just throwing it out there. If you go to buy, like if I was going to go right now and buy a resident hunting license in Arizona, there's all manner of things that would prevent me from doing that. Right? I feel like it should be like a little alert.
Pop up.
There should be a little alert saying like, you know what? When you go on a gun manufacturer's website and it's like, hey, are you 18?
But you can lie on that too.
Well, I know, but if it just said, it should pop up, be like, hey, are you sure you're in Arizona? Right.
But also, if you are out money because of us, because of me, feel free to write MeatEater.
And she'll send you the money.
and we'll get it sorted.
Well, who's to say that someone just reaches out to you that didn't listen to the podcast and you're like, well, I want my money back.
Well,
She's going to
They
tell
can
them how to
probably show
go
a receipt.
apply for a refund.
It's a pain, and sorry, Conservation First USA. I definitely don't want to give them more work, but it's like IP address searching.
You might just think of it if you're in a position to do it. You might just think of it as a good donation to. You might just think of it as a good donation to wildlife conservation in Arizona. Done with that. Whew. Ready for the next thing, Matt?
Absolutely.
You being from Iowa, this might interest you. They just made it illegal in Minnesota to eat a beaver if you've killed the beaver under a depredation permit. And there's a lot of head scratching going on about why is that true.
Yeah, I sent this to Yia Vong, and he was like, dude.
It is now illegal to eat a nuisance beaver in Minnesota. And see, the Minnesota Star Tribune, they're trying to be cutesy with it, and they're using all these little puns in the article. Like, it's a gnawing question. They're trying to be cute. And they're acting like no one knows why. I think I have it solved. I might have solved it for you. Minnesota Star Tribune. I don't know, but here's my guess. Oftentimes, like, do you remember we reported on when they made it that if you are friends in Australia,
Right.
a small percentage of our
Kangaroos.
people in Australia I would call our friends, but our friends in Australia had a thing where if you were to kill a kangaroo under depredation, you couldn't market it.
Yeah.
And part of when you get these rules like this, what they're trying to do is they're trying to clarify what your actual reason is for killing it. Meaning, you draw a depredation permit for beavers. They're sort of like, well, is it really a depredation issue or is there something else at play? Like, let's say all of a sudden, for some weird reason, beavers were all of a sudden a dead beaver laying there is worth $1,000. I could picture it. Some like they determine that that beaver castor is like the world's greatest aphrodisiac or like cures baldness or something, whatever. And all of a sudden the beaver's worth $1,000 laying there dead. A guy says, man, I got an idea. I'm going to get a depredation permit. And I mean, they're cutting my trees down. I'm going to get a depredation permit and I'm going to kill beavers year round and sell them all for $1,000. So oftentimes if you get a depredation permit, you can't utilize the resource.
It's like a DLP killing in Alaska.
Yep. If a bear breaks into your house and you kill the bear, you don't keep the bear. Right. Okay. For instance, if we have a bear lurking around our neighborhood right now, getting everybody's trash. If I came out and the bear was standing in my garage, I can kill the bear. I don't then also get to sell the hide and eat the meat. They come and take the bear because it's sort of like, did you kill it because you wanted it, or did you kill it because it was causing a problem? So they're making a big deal about this as though it's a big mystery. It's probably a part of de-incentivizing claims of depredation that aren't depredation because you're trying to get.
Does it? I assume it applies to the fur as well.
No,
then.
well,
but then when they
I don't
say
know
like
that
can't
I don't know
sell
if you
it or
can't market it.
You know, because how many people are really like love eating beaver?
I don't know, but I'm saying I think that's. I don't know what the rule is on selling it, but if you trap it during season, you can eat it. You just can't eat it under depredation. Mm-hmm. Also, I have a feeling. I don't give legal advice, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm not giving legal advice. I just have a feeling.
Just financial advice.
I have a feeling that if you're in Minnesota and you've been eating a lot of the beavers you catch on your depredation permit, I just have a feeling that if you were to continue to cut a hammy off one of those beavers now and then and keep eating it, I just don't feel that you're going to wind up in a bunch of trouble.
Yep.
Have you ever eaten beaver?
Yes.
Is it good?
Piles of it. One time, me and my buddy Seth made 54 pounds of beaver sausage.
What? That's a lot.
It is.
It's supposed to be.
You know
really
what?
good.
You know what I mixed in there with it? It's a little bit of red fox.
So I know this isn't
just a hint of red fox.
I know this isn't Minnesota, but in Iowa, my brother makes a living getting animals out of people's houses.
Sure, good for him.
So like trapping beavers out of ponds and all that stuff. But I'm gonna have to ask him.
He's in the ADC business. They call it. Not EDC.
ADC. I'm gonna have to ask him why he doesn't try to eat any of that stuff. But probably because they can't. I'm guessing since he can do it
probably
year
just
round.
Gets a little sick of looking at it too. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, there's we've got beaver recipes in our cookbooks. Yeah, he'd like roast a whole tail and.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna have to try beaver soon.
So yeah, if you're trapping under a depredation permit and you catch one and you kind of look up and down the road and there's no one looking and you're down in the bushes and you decide to get a hammy or a little bit of tail, I don't know.
So what if you run over
Are they going to
it?
spring out and bust you?
What if you hit it with a vehicle? Because I ran over a beaver like last year.
Then you're A-okay as long as your state allows you to keep roadkill.
Salvage roadkill.
Mm-hmm. I wonder like if you
The wheels are turning over here.
No, because it just reminded me of a story. Last winter, a lady had hit a deer. A friend of ours had hit a deer with their car on the interstate, and we called the DNR and got a tag so I could keep the meat.
Yep.
So I'm out there. It's probably 10 o'clock in the evening, and it's dark. And this, I'm skinning it out.
Are you able? You can skin with your feet.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hold the knife with my toes.
He drives
everything.
with his feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know
His
that.
vehicles
Yeah.
with this. Yeah,
So I'm in the
awesome.
middle of the road there, or in the ditch there.
How do you
and
pull the guts?
It's with my feet. You know those bags that you use that go all the way up to your armpit. Like
Yeah.
I just put them on my.
No
and they're
shit.
all
You
the
could
way
just
up.
use waders.
Yeah, but they don't make them. They don't make anything for feet
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. So I have to make it work. But I can make it work. So I'm gutting out the deer in the middle of the night, basically, and a car pulls up, and it was a car full of old ladies, and she goes, "Are you okay?"
Full old ladies.
Full old ladies.
How many? Where are they?
4. 4 old ladies, and they go, "Are
All
you
going somewhere
a
together.
two-seater.
I'll go somewhere." The funny part
Is anybody here against their will in this car?
I think the funny part about it was that when they pull up and they asked if I was okay, and I stand up and I have blood from my knees down, and then my buddy stands up holding a knife. Of course, they can't see the deer in the ditch, and all I hear is "go, go, go!" And I'm like, it took about 10 minutes, and the cop showed up. So like this guy without arms, he probably thought I was getting all cut up and stuff. But anyway, that was what I was thinking. What I was laughing about. Anyway, not to get off track there.
No, that's right on track,
Totally on
man.
track.
Because with deer, you can do that, right? In Iowa,
Well,
you can,
it's state by state.
yeah.
Like for
okay.
a long time, you couldn't hear. Now you can. In fact, there was a whole series of states that overturned prohibitions
Yeah, it
on
got
keeping road
trendy
killing.
for a little
yeah,
bit.
it got
I got
trendy
you.
for a bit. That's a good kind of trend.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good kind of trend. Black Friday sale. So when's this kick in? Oh, from now, as you're sitting here listening to this, through Monday, December 2nd, stock up on products at discounts of up to 50% off. Head over to firstlight.com. And Black Friday deals from First Light, FHF gear, Phelps game calls, Dave Smith decoys, and the MeatEater store. Now through December 2nd. Big old savings up to that. So get your holiday gift stuff started. Oh, another thing, while you're over there, the Fucked Up Old Shitters calendar is out.
Get that too.
Yeah, all year long, every month, you can look at a fucked up shitter on a calendar.
Sounds like a great gift.
I mean,
Great stocking stuffer.
You don't have to look at the fucked up shitters. Your family, your friends, your coworkers, anyone you think might enjoy it.
you know what came to me I like wake up in the middle of the night often, and then I think for a long time before I fall back asleep. The other day I was thinking of an ad for that fucked up old shitter calendar that involves Santa Claus needing to
Let's do it.
take a deuce like in the middle of his the one night a year when he really works.
Mm-hmm. We can make that happen.
No,
We've
no.
got the
Who's
most
got-
talented production team out there.
But do we have
Yeah.
a Santa suit?
I'm sure we can
Yeah,
find
It's
one.
in the budget. It's in
We
the
got
budget.
Amazon.
That's a great idea.
Budget. Look under S in
We'll
the
get
budget.
Brent Reeves can play Santa.
Oh, that'd be a great
He'd
Santa.
be a
man.
great
Yeah.
Santa. I'm
Well,
surprised he
no,
doesn't do that.
because Santa's definitely like a Yankee.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Santa's a Yankee because he's from the North Pole, dude.
True.
Oh yeah.
No, I
it's in,
didn't
it's
think
in the
about that.
name right there.
Yeah, I mean, unless you went so far south that you came back up the other side and back around on top,
I mean,
that's more of a geology, not a geology. That's like a geography question.
Randall, you'd make a great Santa.
I've said before, anyone
I'd
from
love
a
to do
state
it.
that has ice fishing, you can't be from the South if people ice fish in your state. That's how you know if you're in the South or not. And people ice fish up that way. Toward the pole.
Well, yeah.
toward the pole.
Okay, what else we got? Is that everything?
Kids Podcast
Oh,
out now, today.
Kids Podcast is out now. So we did MeatEater Kids. We kind of made it provisional. We told everybody, like, we're doing this, but we don't know if we're going to keep doing it because we don't know how much people will like it and how much people will listen. Well, they liked it and they listened. So now we're doing another run of the Kids Podcast. And again, it's for your kids. And the Kids Podcast works as like 3 acts. There's an act up top that's like a biology / interesting stuff lesson for kids, which I do. Then we have there's this thing called Guess That Critter, which is about animal vocalizations, and we play animal vocalizations and start to build a bio and leading your kid to try to guess what animal's making it. And we pick animals that have crazy, varied vocalizations. Like a crow probably isn't going to make the cut.
Right.
A sea lion would make the cut.
It did last time, but we won't give away season 2's.
No, because sea lions make crazy noises.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Guar
Guar.
concert. Yeah.
That was a fan favorite quip.
And then the third act is when we bring actual real live kids. This might be an AI thing we could figure out, so we don't have to deal with any kids anymore.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
We bring actual.
Definitely in the spirit of the project. Get rid of them.
We bring in actual real live kids to play trivia, but the way we do it with the kids in the American spirit of destroying America's competitive sense, and like making it that America no longer has its competitive edge. We've taken away where the kids don't compete against one another. They work together. They're all winners.
The collective.
They're all winners, and they work together to build up a little booty of money to go to conservation. Because it doesn't work to have 14-year-olds whipping on 7-year-olds. The 7-year-olds get too sad.
Like Chili, an Olympic wrestler.
Give him a pink ribbon.
You know what we should do? You know what'd be great is we should bring in Chili to play against the kids.
Yes.
This is not fun for me at all. Okay. All right.
Me.
That is me. And I'll have you know, last trivia, I did pretty good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I was
I'm
going to
getting
say Chili's
Up and comer.
That would be a huge show. It'd be like where Chili comes in and gets whooped by kids at trivia.
Steve, you're not the first person to bring this idea. Sorry,
What the
Chili.
hell is going on?
And how old are you? So like, okay, Mabel, you're 12. How old are you, Chili?
30. This is stupid. I don't like this idea. I'm never playing trivia again.
That's all a joke. We know Chili would win.
You don't sound too confident.
Now and then.
we all know he'd be competitive.
He'd have as much of a chance as anybody of winning. Is that
My 6-year-old's pumped about more episodes, though. Every time we're in the car going somewhere more than 10 minutes, he's asking, are there more MeatEater Kids trivia episodes? So,
great?
Good.
All right, Matt, you ready?
Yeah, you should do one about what does the fox say?
Oh, I don't think Steve's heard that song.
Yeah, no, I know that song.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna do that though.
My kids wanted a dog. I said, memorize the words of that song. I don't have a dog yet. But it is a popular song, and I still don't know what a fox says.
He says,
Yeah.
Oh, it's like Ming, Ming, Ming or something like that.
Matt Stutzman. You know, how comfortable are you talking about?
Super.
You were adopted.
I'll talk about
Tell
anything.
that story, man.
Yeah. So,
Like your parents got overwhelmed.
it's funny because I don't remember any of this.
Yeah.
Because I was too little. But when I was born, there was a surprise that I had no arms.
Yeah.
Like my mom never did ultrasounds or anything like that. So they were like, "Oh my goodness, here's a kid without any arms. What do we do?" And the doctor told them that it was going to cost millions of dollars to raise me, and that I would never be able to do anything on my own ever. So my parents were just like,
Have you ever found that doctor and went had a chat?
I was thinking like if I ever could punch, but I'd have to get real close. No, I've never met the doctor, but because of that guidance, it actually was huge for my life because where I ended up and the family who adopted me, like, taught me how to adapt to the world and taught me to think like I can do anything and that I don't need no one's help to do it. And so I'm glad I was adopted. I'm glad that I was put in that situation where my family had 8 brothers and sisters and we lived on a farm and we lived off the land. And there was times where I was just taught like, there was a time I was hungry. So I went in the woods with my .22 and I shot a squirrel. And then I skinned it and I made a little fire and I started cooking it. And I was gnawing it was sitting on my shoulder and I was just eating it when my brother walked up and apparently I didn't cooked it long enough. But that's the type of stuff my parents were like, hey, you just got to figure it out. You got to go do it. And so I'm happy that I was put up for adoption and
Are you in touch?
adopted
Are you
by-
in touch now with your biological parents?
Ironically, they came, got in touch with me after all this happened with the
No.
Yeah, no, legit. In 2012, when I won my silver, my first games ever, I won a silver medal. They just all came out of the woodwork. Hey, I'm your cousin from your mom's side, whatever. And then, hey, I gave birth to you, and hey, I'm your dad. I'm like, what? And it's happening?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. But to me, it didn't bother me any because I knew who my parents are. And, these are, no hard feelings to them whatsoever.
Sure.
They had me, and that was pretty much the end of it, how I look at it. Yeah.
Cow, man.
Yeah. I've had a good life. I know that I do a lot of motivational speaking, and they want you to come in and talk about the ups and downs of your life. But I've had ups and downs, but I've had a good life.
Mhm.
I don't have any modifications in my house. I can do everything everybody else can do. I hunt, fish, drive cars.
Yeah, I was watching that profile piece they did that you don't have a modified car, and your parents made a decision kind of early on that they weren't going to modify anything in the house.
Nothing. They were actually offered by the insurance company like $500 a month, and back in 1982, that was a lot of money. But they had to spend it on me, and they had to spend it to modify the house for me. And they're like, no, and they turned it all down. And they're like, we're going to teach this kid how to do stuff without anything modified, because someday he's going to be out in the world on a MeatEater podcast, and he's not going to need someone to be beside him to help him get there. He can do it on his own. They knew that stuff before I did.
Wow.
What was the first time you ever laid eyes on a piece of archery equipment?
My brother had a bow when I was younger, and he couldn't shoot it worth a crap.
What were his intentions with the bow?
I don't even know. He just lost arrows. But I remember, I tell the story where I first got into archery in 2010. But the story that nobody knows.
And you sorry, but how old were you in 2010?
Oh shoot, I'm
I can help you.
42 now, so
Okay.
I would have been 28 maybe.
Okay, yeah. That's
But the little story that nobody knows is that I tried archery when I was probably 13 or 14, and the technology of the rests and stuff back then wasn't that great. So every time I would try to draw the bow back, the arrow would always fall off.
because it'd be on a flipper rest.
Yeah, or like one of those steel prongs with the little, where the odd feather would go between it. It just was.
What rest are you talking about?
I don't even know.
Like-
I just remember it's like a steel
two little-
prong.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. I could never really make it work. So back then when I tried it, it was kind of like a short-lived thing.
And that was one of the obstacles, keeping the arrow on the.
Yeah, I missed a huge buck because of it. So I was like, if I had a gun, I could have.
Sure.
It would have been better. But for me, then it was in 2010 where, for me, archery really kicked off. But I think a lot of it, the technology then, in 2010 when I said, hey, I'm going to shoot a bow, they had a whisker biscuit, right? So they put a whisker biscuit on the bow, and I could do I could throw the bow on the ground and it wouldn't fall out of that thing, And so that's when, I really excelled with the archery and fell in love with archery as we know it.
For people who haven't watched you shoot, can you describe?
Oh yeah, can we put that up?
Can you
Yeah, we can. Hold
describe
on.
what your process is like?
I can do you one better.
So,
Well, there's going to be listeners.
But he can walk.
Oh, I see.
No, I think you should ask because people that are just listening will help. But if I know Phil was intending to pull this up
Yeah.
anyway, so
And I'm curious too, like how you got there.
Well-
if there were other
oh, check this. This is a good video.
This is a good video, but not the one.
hold on.
Oh,
no,
these are the ones.
Pause-
I only have the
pause
hunting
this-
ones
yeah,
prepared.
I only
haven't seen these
sent
yet.
him hunting ones
Yeah,
because
but they're in a dark ass blind.
we can't show
Yeah, you
the
don't want turkeys.
broadcast.
broadcast video. Like we can't show like Paralympic. Like we can't show that to our audience.
All right, so you just
Whacked them.
Got him.
it gets better. It gets better. Wait for it.
No.
Oh, it comes
no.
back. Oh, what are you doing?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Oh, I think I would like to eat you too. Bye-bye.
Wow. No way.
Nice hit.
doubled up.
Yeah,
Yes.
he didn't go very far either. But so that didn't show really how I shoot. So I'll explain it.
Yeah, that's
Ironically, in 2010, I Googled how to teach an armless guy how to shoot a bow. Because
Was there much out there?
There was nothing. I couldn't find nothing. So
Can I
everything
tell you
was
quick-
self-taught.
I want to tell you a quick thing though. Is when I was in archery league as a kid, we had a guy that was very, very good, a one-arm shooter.
Mm.
And then it's like
And he held it in his mouth.
he had a mouthpiece.
What was his name? You know,
I could find out. I could ask around. He had a
from Arizona,
no, Michigan.
Michigan.
He had
Okay.
I can't remember how his release worked, but it was like he'd bite down, and it was like a string release where his teeth,
Like a mouth tab thing.
and he would just relax
his jaw.
would relax his jaw, and he used to dominate in league.
Yeah, I have a buddy. His name is Eric Bennett. He's been to 5 games actually, and for the first 3 or 4, he shot with a mouth tab.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty good at it, and he only has one arm too. But this is before I met all those guys, right? So I didn't know what I was doing, and I know the reality is the reason why I needed to get a bow in 2010 is because I couldn't get a job. People would have me come in, like I would apply, like, yeah, you're perfect on paper, and then I would come in, and then they would look at me and they'd be like, do you have prosthetics? Like, I would hire you if you had prosthetics. I'm like, well, last time I had prosthetics, I wore them to show and tell. And that's cool because I wanted to be the only kid who could take off his arms, right?
Yeah.
But I was just remember thinking like I was getting judged what I looked like, not what I was capable of, and I didn't have any food, and I was sitting at home trying to figure out what I was going to do, and bam, a guy on TV was in the woods hunting. I saw on TV. I might have been your show even. I don't know. Did you have a hunting show back in 2010?
Yeah, but we didn't have a.
Was it on
We didn't
Public
have a
Network or?
We didn't have an armless archer on it.
No, it was a regular gentleman out hunting with a bow, and I saw that, and I was like, "That's how I'm going to provide for my family." So I googled how to teach a guy without arms how to shoot a bow, and nothing came up. But I went
Nothing came up.
Nothing came up. And I went to my local archery store, and I said, I want to buy that bow right there. And he said, how are you going to shoot it? And I said, I don't know.
So you bought a bow off the shelf?
Off the shelf.
But what did they set for the draw length?
They had no idea what they were doing, and I didn't know what I was doing. I literally said, just give this to me, and then I just went home. Like, I didn't, like, let them, like, figure it out with me, because I had no idea. So I go home, and there wasn't even a D-loop on it, so I was just grabbing the string with my teeth.
Oof.
And then my buddy had a release aid. He's like, you need to wear one of these. I'm like, it's a wrist strap. What do you want me to do with that? But I actually was able to slide it on my shoulder and activate it with my chin. And the rest was history. I went out. Within 2 weeks of learning how to shoot, I went in the woods and shot a deer.
Wow.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's the video we have. Or
No,
okay.
this is a lot further along
right,
in my
right,
career,
okay.
but yeah.
Do you have a personal video showing in daylight how you shoot?
You mean like how besides the video you just seen?
Like you feel if we put that up, we would actually get like really get in trouble.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
those okay.
Olympic broadcast stuff
Yes.
is really, yeah, it's tough.
Okay, so I wish you could go onto my social media because I have a ton of stuff that I own the rights to.
We can.
Yeah.
So why don't you pull up
I
one
can
of my
try.
archery
Hold on one
videos?
sec.
Keep telling the story. They'll work on it.
Okay, so
Oh, what the hell were you asking about, Randall?
how I shot. I know we got off the
Oh,
track
that's
of
right.
that.
Yeah, I mean, so was it just instinctual? I mean, you use your feet for everything.
Mhm.
Like you were just like, of course, I'll pick this up between my toes and
Yeah, so the
Draw.
guy that I saw on TV held the bow with his right arm, so I grabbed the bow with my right foot.
mm-hmm.
And then once I figured out the release aid, I learned that it needed to be on my right shoulder for string alignment. I don't know why I figured that out, but it needed to be on the right side. Plus, I was right eye dominant, so that kind of made sense. And then that's pretty much it. Like, it didn't really, just for people listening or whatever, I hold the bow with my right foot. And so as I'm sitting there with the bow unloaded, I actually have the bow on the ground. I will pick the arrow up with my right foot, load it into the bow. Then I pick up the bow with my right foot. At that point, I gentleman will cross my legs, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Then I lean down to the string and I attach my release aid to the D-loop. I then sit up and it kind of looked like an accordion at this point with my leg like right in front of my chest. And then I push my foot away from my chest, which draws the bow back. then I get into my release and anchor position while I'm aiming, and then I apply back pressure to the release aid.
Okay, that's what you're using.
Yeah, and then that activates the shot.
And your release is around your torso, your neck?
The release is around my chest.
Okay.
So I've got some Instagram stuff pulled up here, Matt.
I don't have a lot on Instagram.
Okay.
Right
Is
there. No, go down. Show that one right there.
Right here?
The sushi
Target?
shot.
The target here?
Yeah, do that one.
Oh, cool. What kind of roll is that?
It's a sushi roll. This is 101 yard sushi shot.
No. 100?
That 101 yard sushi shot.
Matt, is that your account? Because I also see Armless Archer.
It's one
You
of
got
my.
one of them. Okay.
Yeah, apparently I have several, but that is definitely my video.
101. Way down there.
I think this was I shot this right before Tokyo. So right there.
Oh, there we go.
So can you pause that video? So if you look how I'm holding the bow with my right foot, and then I have a release aid around my chest over my right
And
shoulder.
that's a back tension release.
Yeah, that's one that I designed. It's called the Fingerless. I'm not going to make millions of dollars off of it because I think there's 8 armless archers.
One day you'd be like, I sold one
in the world now. But yeah, so that's how, and then I activate it with back pressure.
Now, when you, one thing I couldn't figure out, when you touch off, how are you not dropping the bow? Do you got that good of a grip on it with your toes?
Yeah.
For sure. Look at that.
I got some pretty, a lot of it has to do with the angle of how I'm shooting it too. I figured out I'm leaning back, so the weight of the bow is actually kind of more over my torso.
Wow.
Damn.
There was even a little breeze too.
Hit a sushi roll.
Yeah.
At 110 yards.
So I've noticed that as we all shoot a bow, we hold it with our left hand release, so it's kind of opposite. So,
Yeah.
But it's the same side, it's the right leg, and then the release is on your right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just you just naturally, that's how you did it.
Yeah, that just kind of something that was just natural for me because I was trying to figure out when I would switch to the left side and then try to the string alignment was bad, right?
Yeah.
So for me, here's something that's interesting. If you watch when I'm shooting, everything is I'm facing my bow, right? Most people who shoot bows, kind of they stand at an angle sideways and the bow's left or right. When I shoot, the bow goes straight out in front of me. Which actually helps in the woods because when I'm hunting, I can draw right at a deer and they don't run off or nothing. And I think it's because when I'm drawing, I'm pushing the bow straight at them. And only movement you have is my leg going forward, which is in line with the bow.
How many pounds, because you're using your leg, how many pounds could you pull with your leg? Push. You're pushing, not pulling. How many pounds can you push with your leg?
It's kind of like a leg press motion.
It is like a leg press. To be honest, I had Hoyt build me a custom bow not too long ago, and it was 90. It was with the turbo cams. It was 93 pounds.
That's what you're pushing?
I don't do that anymore because I realized I was down in Arkansas, Bentonville, Arkansas, and we were doing where there was a bunch of deer in town that they needed to get rid of. So they brought me down to kind of thin out the herd for them. So I wanted to see if I could shoot through 2 deer at once. So there was the DNR was there, and they put out a bunch of food, and I went and sat in a blind, and I think I shot 22 in 9 hours maybe. But I shot through several at a time because they would be all and they're skinny. I mean, I got to tell you that Arkansas, their deer, their world records are probably 120 inch, or you know what I mean? They're all skinny. They might be 130.
Clay's just pounding. Our buddy Clay in Arkansas is pounding the table right now.
Swamp bucks might be a little bigger, but
they're not that big.
I know what you're saying.
And they're skinny.
I know some guys in Arkansas that are just what?
So I come from Iowa, so unfortunately, but I don't pull that much poundage anymore just because it's a little overkill. The technology on the bows nowadays are so good, and the way you can build them with speed and kinetic energy and all that kind of stuff with the arrows.
What's your target bow come in at?
60 pounds.
Okay.
And that's the max that you're allowed to shoot in competition. And because if I could, so we shoot distance, 50 meters, right? Well, if I could shoot 90 pounds all day long because I'm using my feet and I'm shooting against you, I mean, that's a big difference when it comes to getting the arrow faster, getting the arrow to the target faster without being deflected by wind or anything like that. Well, at that point, it now becomes an advantage to me.
Mm-hmm.
So they just capped everything at 60 pounds.
Mm-hmm. So tell that story, bringing that first bow home and trying to get that thing figured out.
So I bring it
and why didn't you go? Why didn't you ask why didn't you say, hey man, can you help me get this figured out?
Because I figured like if I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail in the quietness of my garage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I didn't want, this was something that I knew I wanted to do. I just didn't want someone to see me fail at it because I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And to be honest, if I walked up to you at a bow store and asked you to help me out, you wouldn't know what you're doing either. You know what I mean? Like some armless guy being like, hey.
But a person that knows a lot about bows would be more equipped to be like, let me think here a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe I have some ideas than a person that has no idea about bows.
And that is true. I think it was I just didn't want people to see me if it backfired. Once I figured out how to shoot the bow, then when I go into the archery range was Fin and Feather in Iowa City, I was like, okay, help me out now. I know how to shoot the bow. How do we figure out spine? How do we figure out this? And then they kind of guided me after that.
What's your draw length?
32 and a half. And I usually run like an inch D-loop.
When you went back to the archery store after buying that bow and walking out of there for the first time, when you went back the second time, what was their reaction? Were they just like, we were waiting to see what happened with this? Or like...
So I remember going back, the guy that was helping me, his name is Chris Mobley. And I was like, dude, I could shoot a bow. He's like, let me see. So I showed him, and we immediately made a video. He's like, dude, we're making a video. Yeah. And we made a video, and that thing went viral as like the only guy in the world without arms shooting a bow.
Yeah.
And even then, like I remember doing that like a week or so after learning, 2 weeks after figuring it all out.
Mm-hmm.
I was hitting a pop bottle lid at 20 yards pretty much every single shot.
Wow.
Like within 2 weeks of learning even how to shoot the bow.
And those guys probably feel pretty invested in, at that point, they're probably like,
oh yeah,
we want to see this work.
Yeah. At that point, they're like, okay, let's figure out, how to get you some, better equipment, like better stuff, and for me, it was all just because I wanted to go out in the woods and put food on the table. And I remember when I shot that deer, I remember being like I got emotional because I'm like, this is the time I could put food on the table for my family. And no one's telling me I can't do it, like with jobs and all that stuff. Like I'm out here doing it, like I did that. I brought the deer home. I hung it in the tree. I lived in town and I hung it in the tree so I could, gutted it and all that stuff.
I gotta keep. I don't mean to keep asking the same question.
Hey, it's okay.
Can you hang a deer in a tree by yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I can climb tree stands.
We got a video of that.
Oh yeah, we can show that.
People ask me all the time, like, when you go hunting, do you hunt on the ground or blinds? Like, tree stands are my favorite.
Let's make a deal. If we encounter a thing where you just can't do it yourself, you just let me know that you couldn't do that yourself.
Okay. I'm not saying...
Otherwise, we'll assume the opposite.
Might be a while.
I'm not saying this is the safest thing because I don't have any safety stuff on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no shit, man.
But that's a 20... I think that was a 21-footer.
Wow.
Got it. That's going to be my next question is, with your form, can you shoot a downward angle pretty good?
Yeah.
Watch this.
Beautiful buck.
That was 50 yards.
Oh,
Great.
dude, he had a little get up and go before it got there too, man.
I had to lead him a little bit.
Yeah,
Look,
he was a little late to the game though, but
so this moment that we're having right now is
I can't believe he's still going.
Down.
Yeah, he
went down.
He went down right there. This is why this moment for me is really awesome. So I grew up in a
That's so cool.
Nice deer, dude. Nice deer.
So this is you guys are getting like the good footage right now, and I want to tell you why. So when I got into archery, yes, it was hunting, and I grew up hunting, and I never posted any of this on social media. And it's because when I got into the Olympic and Paralympic realm, I started getting like major sponsors, BP and Allianz and things like that. And so I have tons of footage of me hunting all over the place with tons of things that I've harvested, and I've never posted on social media before because I was always concerned about the backlash for my sponsors.
Oh.
But guess what? I'm retiring.
Oh, why?
From competition. This is my fourth games, and I brought it around full circle. And I really want to spend a lot of time hunting and filming hunts and doing that kind of stuff. And I can't do it when I'm in the USOPC space. Like I just was considerate of my sponsors. So you guys are getting the very first ever.
Well, you thought your sponsors would be like put off and it'd give you a bunch of financial trouble if you were active, like posting hunting stuff.
There was times when I would sign a big deal with BP or whatever, and they would be like, hey, we know you hunt and stuff like that, but we're just going to politely ask you to just kind of keep that stuff. Like, if you want to show a picture of you.
Because Lord knows we've never done anything that would harm anything.
But it was,
we might have bagged a couple with that oil spill we had, but.
It's one of those things where it was like I respect the fact that they were giving me financial money.
Listen, dude, I'm not hacking on you.
No,
I'm not
it's
hacking
fine.
on you one bit. It's just funny from that perspective.
It is funny, but I am happy that I can now share that stuff, and I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, that's who I am anyway. That's me. I am now to the point now where, since I'm retiring from the Team USA, I will always shoot my bow.
But could you stay in Team USA?
I could stay on Team USA, but I'm like, I don't know how to top that.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if they've come up with anything like that.
You can't top.
Like a gold plus?
Yeah, gold plus. Well, so here's what's interesting about the gold medal match, too, is that I shot a world record. I shot 1 point off perfect, which means if I would have took that score into an able-bodied tournament, I would have won it.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so it's like.
That's one of the questions in the back of my head is how, like, what are the Olympic rules? Like, are the rules such that you couldn't go to, what do you call
we call it the regular Olympics, I guess.
What do you, could you shoot the regular Olympics or can't you shoot the gear that they have to shoot?
So, I would have to switch. I would have to switch to the recurves. But a lot of it comes down to they don't want, I mean, the reality is it is equipment, but I already get like protested already in able-bodied competitions.
For what?
So you ready? So
you get guys bitching about you in a regular competition.
Oh yeah. So I only shoot against the Paralympic people, or people with physical disabilities when it's at like the Paralympic Games or like World Championships. All the other tournaments I shoot against, I want to be the best in the world. So I shoot against the best in the world with arms, right? And in 2017, I won Outdoor National Target Championships against Team USA, which is our best guys in the world. And I won by 20-some points. And it was a little bit windy that day. And within 5 minutes of me winning, a well-known archer who is very famous and a good friend of mine complained and threw down the money and tried to get me booted because he said I shot in a chair. Therefore, I was lower to the ground. Therefore, I shot under the wind.
Who's that person?
I don't know. Yeah. The reality is if you were standing beside me and I was in my chair, I would only been like maybe 2 feet low, a foot and a half lower, 2 feet lower than you. So really,
I don't know enough. I don't know enough about it to like tell whether that's legitimate. I mean, the wind thing feels fishy, but I don't know enough about the whole thing to have like to have a
wind blows everywhere.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where when I first got into archery, it was
there must have been something else. He wasn't talking about the wind.
No, that's literally what was on the paperwork.
No, but was that what was in his head?
Probably not. He was just mad that I beat him.
Yeah, like the wind seems like a red. Seems like a red herring to like an equipment advantage or whatever the hell.
Yeah. When I first started, it was cool because I had no arms. Right? You're the guy without arms that shoots a bow, and then I started doing well, and they're like, "Wow!" Like, let's say I won my first event. They're like, "Wow, congrats, you won!" And then I started really winning, and then they're like, "Wait a minute, you have an unfair advantage," and then it turned into how it gets.
So if I gave you arms right now. Like, whap, there you got arms. You're not going to change your shooting form.
I'd probably find a surgeon to remove them.
I'm curious like that. Like, like in those competitions is form regulated?
No,
Right, because like that's when I think about it. I think that's what really struck me watching you was like, you put a target out there. Here's a guy. Here's a bow. Here's an arrow. Arrow goes in the target. If I were doing this, if I were competing against you, I'd have the same equipment, same setup, and everything. So like, other than saying you have to have 2 feet on the ground or whatever, I don't like if that's a rule.
there actually is a rule that's like that. Where
really?
before I got into archery, they said you got to have 1 foot in front of the line and 1 foot behind the line.
Oh.
And I was like, well, I sit in a chair, so they made an exception for me.
You just put the
so
two
I have-
front legs of the chair above the line and the 2 back legs.
Yeah, I have the chair has to straddle the line.
There you go.
One of the cool things though about archery that I love a lot is, and I tell people this all the time, is that when they ask me why did you really get into archery, yes, it was because I wanted to provide and put food on the table, but archery doesn't care I have no arms. The bow just wants to be shot, right? If you take archery in the Paralympic space, it's one of the only events in all of Paralympics that we could take our scores and put it with Able-Bodied scores and we would have beat them or tied them or been on the same page as them. Because if you look at, I don't want to bash swimming or anything like that, but you have swimming, you have different categories. Like if you have no arms, you race against only people with no arms, or like somebody who maybe has no legs because, of the way the rules are. And they might have won a gold medal, but you take their time against Michael Phelps, and Michael Phelps has blown them out of the water.
Okay.
Right? But you take me in archery, and you put me against the legit best Olympian in the world. Him and I, it could be a coin toss. I could beat him. And that's why I
With the
think it's
same
so
bow,
with the same, we run the same equipment, we rock and roll. It's just mental and who has the game that day. And it literally, I can win. And that's why I love archery so much, because that's one of the only sports that I can do where I'm not stereotyped as an athlete or divisioned down or whatever, you know? I can just be the best in the world. Mic drop.
Turn the machine off, Phil.
And
What I was watching that profile piece on you, you can change a tire on a car. I'm back
Sunday
into
morning,
it.
folks.
I said I was done talking about it, but I'm back into it. You can change a tire on a car, but okay. Can you what about installing components on a bow when you get like little teeny little screws? What do you do?
You ready for this?
Yeah.
I do all my own stuff. They send me the bow, I set it up all myself.
How do you
I build my own arrows.
But when you want to
everything.
if you want to take an Allen key,
yeah.
and you want to take an Allen screw,
Uh-huh.
and you want to wed the Allen key and the Allen screw,
Yeah.
and then you want to put that in a little teeny hole and line up those threads and go righty-tighty.
Lefty loosey. Boom. I can do it. I believe in archery you got to have confidence in your equipment, and the only way that I'm going to have confidence in my stuff is if I am the only one that puts my feet on it.
I think you could have everybody in this room work on your bow, and you'd be the only person who puts their feet on it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, just a side note, real quick. I actually am a professional drag racer now. I have a professional drag racing license, and I race a pro mod car with like a, several thousand horsepower car, and I drive it with my feet. And I work on it with my feet, and I do all the stuff with it on my feet, with my feet. And I joke all the time that I'm probably the only person in the world that can foot-pound torque a car. But I've always been gifted to use my feet like hands.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that my dad was my principal. I went to a school, but my dad was also the principal of the school.
Uh-huh.
And during some PE things where, like, let's say they're just like something I can't do in PE, he would take me down to his buddy's mechanic shop, and I would spend the hour.
I see.
So I learned, because I always love mechanics and how things work and designing and things like that. So that's how I learned, like, I think the dexterity in my toes, learning how to work on my own bow, swapping mods, all that stuff.
Do you, when you were talking about applying for jobs and people wouldn't give you a chance, what sorts of jobs are you applying for? Manufacturing or?
No, definitely not fast food.
Yeah.
Why is there a toe print in my burger? A lot of it, the ones I remember specifically were like just driving jobs. Like I was just going to be like, let's say an O'Reilly's delivery driver, drive and deliver parts,
Uh-huh.
AutoZone, things, stuff like that I could do, easily. I remember one of them was, I even did telemarketing for a little bit, but then I got fired because I couldn't type faster than 21 words per minute. I typed 20, but like, it doesn't make the cut. Like just like little things like that, So they weren't like jobs I couldn't do. I just would walk in and you would immediately see their face. Like, oh, he has no arms. He can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I won my silver in 2012, I came back into the town that I lived in, and everybody who wouldn't hire me, like they weren't going to give me a job, were like, hey, you want a job? I was like, wait a minute, that's backwards. But the reality is that they saw what I did, and they were educated by the fact that, okay, maybe he could have done something.
Sure, man.
The education 14 years ago about what people can do with disabilities was not that great, right? Now you can see what people with disabilities can do. You have people without legs climbing Mount Everest, you know what I mean? Like people are amazing if you just give them a chance to prove what they can do, really.
Yeah, I imagine you're a pioneer for other armless archers. You mentioned there might be a few more out there that are using your release.
Yes. I'm actually excited about it, actually. In Paris, there was 4 armless archers.
Wow.
That had, and how you get into the games is you have to shoot elite scores, and you have to like go through a trials process. It's not like you can just show up. They always want the best at these games. And all of these archers I've helped get there.
Wow.
And in fact, for LA, there'll probably be 8 of them.
Wow.
And they're shooting like legit good scores.
All guys that you had some relationship
and
with.
girls, yeah. So it's
cool.
it's the number 1 ranked women archer right now is a girl from India who's 17 with no arms.
Wow.
Oh, I think I saw her shoot.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
she actually won a bronze at this games in team rounds, and it's crazy because the joke is kind of like every country's getting themselves an armless archer because they all understand the benefits of having an armless archer, I guess. But no, the reality too is that if you give somebody a purpose, they're going to perform better than somebody without a purpose. And you give that armless person now, like just from me speaking of what archery gave to me and how I felt, and now you have all these the other armless archers in this situation now have found that they can be the best in the world at something. They're going to work so hard at it. They're going to figure it out. And now that's what you're seeing. You're seeing armless archers right now. Out of the 4 that were at the games, there's 3 armless people in the top, probably 10 in the world.
What do they call whatever happened in development that would cause you to be born without arms?
Probably drinking.
Oh, really?
No, I don't.
No,
I really don't know. They did some tests on my mom, but they didn't find any.
So it's not a known. There's not like a known name of a syndrome or something that would.
No, back in 1982, there was a bunch of stuff that, like, not drugs, but like over-the-counter drugs that people were taking that were causing birth defects. But supposedly that was not what happened with me.
And then, do you hang out with just like your normal buddies from hanging out? Do you mostly hang out with just total able-bodied dudes that you just have always known, or have you become buddies with a lot of disabled shooters? And
I am buddies with a lot of disabled shooters and people like that, but I spend 99% of my time hanging out with people that have arms.
Yeah, just like dudes you know.
Just dudes I know. People like to hunt and fish and drive cars and have fires.
You mentioned earlier shooting at 22 at a squirrel. How do you shoot a rifle or a long gun or whatever?
Yeah, actually, if I were to have known this now, what happened back then, but before I got into archery, I was probably 12 years old. I got my first 22. It was a Marlin 10-22, and I could hit pennies at 50 yards, and I just thought like everybody could do that. Like I just have that gift of being able to like hit things. Like I'm really good aim. And I think it comes down to my mental process and like how I mentally process it. But how
do you shoot? Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to handguns, in my book, they're called foot guns, but I can actually hold them between my toes. My left foot holds like kind of like the grip, and then my right foot, I kind of reach around and you can use one of my toes to activate the shot. I have videos. I should have sent you all these videos. But when it comes to a rifle, I usually I have to sit down on the ground, and a gentleman cross my legs again for that one, and then my right foot, I can actually hold the stock, and then I can reach the trigger with my left shoulder. So the butt of the gun is on my right shoulder, and then the left, then I can activate the shot with my left shoulder there. Yeah.
Man.
I figured it out. I don't know. I've just been this guy who's always been able to figure everything out and wanted to hunt and do all that stuff. Yeah.
When you were little, did you ever have like you're so optimistic and capable now and like not intimidated by shit, but did you ever have any kind of crises when you were a kid about do you know what I mean? Like, have you always had this attitude, or did you arrive at this attitude?
I definitely had the attitude when I was younger, but then my dad would just be like, "Get your shit together," you know. Like the reality is that you're not going to have arms. That's the reality, right? Like you could sit on the couch and cry, complain about having no arms for the rest of your life, or you could, you know, put on those clothes right there and go out in the woods with me and let's go hunt. You know what I mean? Like let's go figure out what life is really about and live how you want to live. That's what he would always tell me. So every time I would get in that slump of I want to play sports, right? And never getting picked first and always having to sit on the sidelines and watch everybody else play sports and just never being able to be a part of anything. When I would start feeling down about those moments, then he would just be like, dude, get your crap together. Like, you can do this. So I remember one day I wanted to be a professional basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of saying you can't do that, he actually went out and bought me a hoop and said, here, I want you to start training right now. Like, that's how my dad was. He was never like, you can't do anything. He was always like, you know, you got a full life ahead of you. You can be awesome if you want to be. You have to make it happen, obviously, but go make it happen. And
what an incredible dad.
Yeah.
Very
That's
touching.
why I'm saying, like, when I talk about being adopted, like, I'm perfectly fine with the fact that I got adopted into a family who was like that.
Yeah. What's he think now?
Oh. He won. This was a pretty special moment for me because in Paris, I got to have my family there for the first time. And we've called it the memory games for a long time. And they were in the stands when I won.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually brought them down and we walked out onto the podium together.
Oh, is that right?
So I'm the first person to be able to do that, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And we're on the podium and my dad goes, how come you didn't shoot a perfect score?
Damn, Dad. Sounds like an Asian tiger mom.
Of course he was joking, right? Because he was crying and happy. And it was like, you missed perfect if you would have shot 1 point better, you would have been the first person in history of the Olympic or Paralympic Games to shoot perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that record would have stood forever in the history of it. Like, well, Dad, I didn't.
Yeah.
I missed one.
Oh, that's nuts, man.
But it was that whole experience, just being in Paris with my family, was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
What's the walk me through what the Olympics is like in general? Like how long did you go for?
I was there for 3 weeks.
Okay.
My family came over for 7 days. I ended up, when they got there, staying in an Airbnb with them. I didn't even stay in the Olympic Village during that time. Yes, there's cardboard beds at the village.
I don't know what that means.
Well,
that was a big media story.
Like legitimately.
it was like all over. Yeah, you always had all these, like, I remember a guy with a BMX bike showing you how crazy these beds were, but the whole bed is made out of cardboard so they can recycle it.
Okay.
It's environmentally friendly. And he was like doing
more
wheelies.
friendly than just a bed.
Yeah. Basically,
the Olympics have kind of
But-
overcorrected on not leaving a crazy footprint,
yeah.
like a physical footprint after the games are done, and so they went with cardboard beds
It went with cardboard beds.
this year.
However,
but it was a problem.
well, for a lot, yeah, it was not for me because I like hunting and living on the ground, right? So for me, I was like, hey, so what are you guys complaining about? But there was a lot of people complaining about the fact that there was a cardboard. We're at the Olympics and it's a cardboard
So
bed.
it's a big, thick sheet of cardboard you lay on?
Well, it's basically, imagine your bed frame being all cardboard, and then there's a little thin mattress on there.
So what were they griping about?
just
the
to,
red
I think
carpets.
there
Yeah,
were a lot
it
of
is.
athletes
Them,
that
right?
that felt they'd trained their whole life for this moment, and then they were gonna maybe not get the best night's sleep before their competition on a cardboard bed.
Well,
Yeah,
how
I
do
think-
you, when you're sleeping, how do you know what the legs of the bed are made out
I'm
of?
just relaying what I was told.
to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like I was like perfectly fine with it. But you are right. There was a lot of people that were complaining.
Yeah, you're like,
about
dude, I've been through more challenging situations.
I don't care about a cardboard bed. You know, like
I got you.
I think LeBron James made a big stink about it.
well, they actually
they had
spent like $30 million
Yeah.
and went to their own private
Yeah.
hotel and
Yeah.
lived in luxury. But which is fine, you know. But as far as the games are concerned, it is awesome because I will tell you that it's kind of, for me, every 4 years when I've gone, it's that 2-week period of time or 3-week period of time where nobody hates anybody.
Oh, is that right?
Like everybody's getting along. You literally are like if there's a war going on, you're sitting beside the people who like you literally have the two countries that are at war sitting beside each other, talking, sharing food, and laughing.
Huh.
It is one of the coolest things
I
I've
wouldn't.
ever witnessed.
I wouldn't have guessed that. I guess.
Yeah, I'm not like I've seen it. You know, even in the field of play, and they're like, let's say basketball, volleyball, whatever. Afterwards, they're very friendly. They're hugging it out. Like it is a very like they all understand what they're there for, and it's just to have sport, and they forget about what's happening at home, and people are just people. And I've seen it every single games, and it is just so like. It's a super awesome memory that I have because you just see these two countries that are having a war right now, but yet when they're at the games, they are just like completely friends.
When you shot for the Olympics, how often are you actually shooting to arrive at through all the eliminations? You know what I'm saying? Like how many arrows are you shooting?
Quite a bit. 15 arrows per elimination round, and you go through what five elimination rounds.
And that plays out over what period of time?
One day. Well, for us,
so all of a sudden it's like, here we go.
yeah. For us, it was we had one match, like the first day, but it was raining, and the way they did the schedule. So then the next day we had 4 matches, just bam, 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 bam.
Wow.
So that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's one and done.
I thought it being more like milked out. Man.
No, and we only get one medal. Like when we go, we get a shot at one medal.
Gotcha. You can't be
It's not like if I don't do good now,
the 100 meter,
I got the 100 meter tomorrow,
the 105
and I can
meter.
I can get a
25 yards.
yeah,
only, 50 yards.
right. I could go
only.
after another one tomorrow, but that's not how it is.
It's just that 150 meter shoot.
Yep, and if you make a fist right now, that's the bullseye that we have to hit at 50 meters. So it's like a 3-inch circle.
So when you get a deer at 50, you're like,
yeah. So I do.
but
actually,
you just flung some arrow at 300, right? 300 yards.
310.
Yeah. Tell me what that's all about.
Yeah, like that was actually the world record. So ironically, there's all these videos right now with these guys shooting. Like there's a guy, Dude Perfect, just did like a half-mile shot with a bow, and there's all these guys who shoot like 500 yards. But what they don't know, I still have the record, and this is what they don't know, is that in order to be a Guinness record for the longest, most accurate archery shot, your bow can only be 60-pound pull.
Oh.
And you only get 3 attempts, and you have to call the shot. You don't get to just sit out there and fling it. Like, you have to be like, this is for score, and you shoot. And if you hit it on that attempt, then you get the record.
Yo.
Like, you know, they're out there all day shooting to hit a half a mile, and they're like, we got the record. Well,
And they're rigging up an aim point.
there's lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get any of that stuff.
Yeah, I got
you
you.
literally so I wanted to set that record just to, have an able-bodied record, I guess. Really.
So with your competitions that you said that you got a lot of backlash from winning all these competitions, did you get a lot of backlash from for holding this record? Like a lot of guys reaching out saying, "Well, I shot 500 yards," or
No, I mean, I did have some people that would send me messages like, I could shoot farther than that. And I don't give them the I bet you can. I bet you can. But here,
That doesn't sound like the internet.
this is why I don't feed into the internet much. The comments on that shot will be like, well, because he draws the bow back further than us because he uses his legs, the arrow goes further. I'm like, I mean, yes, kind of, but that's not the point of what's happening here. Like, just because I use my legs, it doesn't mean I draw it back further. Because I get it, but a lot of them just don't quite understand the concept of, and so I just let them bash or have their joys, and I laugh about it and move on because it's not worth my energy to like, you know.
It's so funny that there's an impulse to put the armless guy in his place.
Yeah, always. Always. I remember when I posted that I had just got my...
He thinks he's such a big deal. Having no arms.
Knock him down a road.
Born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Listen, I can tell you right now that those people who comment that, I laugh. It makes my day. Because none of it makes... When I got my professional driver's license or my NHRA or my drag racing license to be certified to legally drag race, and I posted the picture, and it went viral because I'm the only armless guy to have done this, right? The amount of people that were like going on there and being like, how did he even sign his name? This is fake because he doesn't have arms. He couldn't even sign the name on the paper. And then the one guy goes, I would never line up against him because what if we're doing 100 miles an hour and the axle breaks and then he's going to wreck into me? I'm like, if the axle breaks, we're all done anyway. I just want to go there and just comment, but I don't say any of that stuff. And then one guy said something about like, I don't know what I would do if I ever raced against an armless guy. And then my buddy commented like, you probably don't want any of him. And one of the reasons why he's fast is because he cut his arms off to save weight. And I was like, oh my goodness! Like, so I told my buddies, like, dude, stop commenting. You're just egging it on now. Now the backlash is just gonna come even more. But
I don't know if you ever heard of that fellow named Shakespeare, but what heavy is the head that wears the crown? Is that Shakespeare?
I believe so.
Isn't it?
I think so.
Either way, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Well, I don't wear a crown, so.
Well, you got that big ass gold thing, though.
Yeah.
You could make a crown out of that.
So
heavy is the foot that carries the gold.
Foot that carries the gold. You know, just something I wanted to just say real quick is China. I knew I was going to win that match, and it's the first time in my professional career that I knew I was going to win something.
How'd you know?
Because when
he was shooting a good game.
Oh, he was rolling. He was good. So as the higher ranked archer, you get to decide if you get to shoot first or second. And it is in your advantage to shoot first because then you set the tone. And
I can't just nod and act like I know what that means. What does that mean?
So let's say you and I are shooting in an event.
Okay.
And based on qualification round.
No, what's setting the tone?
So if let's say you get to decide you shoot first or second. You shoot first, right?
Okay, yeah.
You shoot a 10. Now I shoot because you alternate.
Oh, that's the tone.
Now I'm like, oh, I just saw you shoot a 10. I got to hang with it.
I see.
And a lot of people can't do that.
I got you.
But because I was a lower ranked archer the entire games, I shot second all of it. So when I went into the gold medal match, right before we went out, he goes, "You're shooting first," and I was like, "Oh, he's done. He's done." And the reason is because he was more concerned about getting in my head about my game than he was about his own game because he was trying to mentally throw me off. He didn't realize I didn't care. I didn't care if I shot first or second. Like I don't care. I don't worry about that stuff. And he was worried about it.
And it gave you a glimpse.
And if you notice, like closer to the end of the match, he started just and it's funny because there's one match or one arrow when you shoot and he almost shoots an 8 and he looks at his bow and he like pretends to adjust his sight. Well, that's this far off. His bow didn't just poof in 30 seconds go from bullseye to this far off because his sight moved. But he acted like his sight was off. And I was like, oh, he's so done. He didn't want the people on TV looking like, oh, he just shot an 8. Like, I better act like my sight was messed up. Yeah, and it was, and I knew it was over. He was so in his head. And I knew when I walked out there, it was like the first time like this peace came over me and I was calm and I was like, this guy's losing. It was so, I don't know, I can't explain it. I've had that feeling with a deer before too, where I just like, 74 yards. So in Iowa, I get 3 buck tags because I have no arms and I can take advantage of the disability season.
Okay.
So,
I'm sure this has been the unfairness of this has been pointed out on social media, no doubt. Yeah, well,
so we're
but
I'm out hunting and it's like I'm saving my tag because I have one. I have one that I'm watching, and it's like the last day, and this buck comes out. I think is I don't even know if we had it named, but it was a deer that we knew we had to take out of the herd. Right, it was the antlers on the right were deformed, and he kind of walked with a limp or whatever. And I just knew we needed to get him out. And I was like, well, I don't want to just waste a tag, so he's good eating. I'll just take this one out of the herd. I still have 2 more buck tags, 74 yards, and we filmed it. And my brother, he films it, and my brother takes the camera as soon as I whack him, and he goes like 30 yards, and he turns to me, and I'm like excited, right? And he's like, dude, how does it feel to shoot your own kind? I was like, what? And I just shot a disabled deer. I was like, oh no, oh no. It was good eating, but
What's more nerve-wracking, the gold medal shot or shooting that buck?
oh, I don't know.
Got to keep your composure, which obviously you're really good at.
The deer. Honestly, I don't know. I just have this gift. So the adrenaline and all that stuff doesn't happen until afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's huge. I'd love some of that.
So
Hopefully, I could do that in trivia coming up.
you get adrenaline?
No,
You
I
get
just
like buck fever? You
I'm
get
just like-
trivia fever?
does your arm start shaking like this?
pretty much. No, I just get into a room where I'm like, all these guys know a bunch of, to me, useless information that I don't know, and like, so I wanted to ask because I saw something that I'm actually more jealous of than the gold medal. You got to meet Jackie Chan.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, cool.
You got to meet Jackie. So can you
Yeah.
walk me through that? Like, how'd that come to be?
Oh, I should probably. Too bad I couldn't show you some clips. The vice president of the Olympics was like sent me a message the day before, and he's like, "I think Jackie Chan wants to meet you." And I'm like, but I was like, "Come on, Jackie Chan never." No, everybody says they want to meet me, and then it never happens. And so I shot my first match, and as soon as it was over, they pulled me off the side. And apparently Jackie Chan showed up specifically to come watch me shoot that match. And went in the back, and I got to meet him. And of course, I watched all his movies when I was younger. And it was pretty cool. One of the funniest things, though, that happened was he picked up my bow, and he's like, whoa, like in his accent, like, whoa, you know? and then we took a picture, and then he told me to get out of the picture because he just wanted a picture with the bow. he's like, now you go. And it was like this cool red, white, and blue bow that Hoyt had made for me just for the games. And it was like this, it's the only one that's like it, right? And he just wanted the picture with the bow.
Is he a big archery guy?
No, he's not really. He's a fan of people doing incredible things that they never thought that people could do.
Yeah.
So like
he
wanted to meet me because of the fact that I was just an archer without arms that was doing all right. And then after I won, so him and I are still stayed friends now. So after I won, he sent me a message. He goes, I had what did he say? I had no doubt that you were going to win. And then I said, thanks. And he goes, but I think you could have done a little bit better. I'm like, what do you mean?
I'm telling you. It's the tiger parent.
Yeah, the tiger parent came out. He's like, well, you almost beat the world. You almost got the perfect score. So I was like, the second time I've heard that. I'm like, yeah. Thanks.
When you look at that 1-9 you got, do you know what happened?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it just wasn't. It was a little bit to the. I think it was high or something like that.
No, I mean, did you know like as you were letting it go?
Yeah, it just wasn't correct. In fact, if you watch the video, you'll actually see me tell the crowd it's okay. Like as soon as I shoot, like I knew, and I'm like, it's okay, it's fine. Like I just knew. Like
you're like, this isn't me falling apart.
Yeah,
that was a one-time.
Yeah,
deal.
I knew exactly. I drifted a little bit when the shot broke, and it went right there. Yeah.
And you didn't let it melt you down.
No, one of the cool things, and I talk about this quite a bit as far as people want to know if I'll ever coach someone to be the best at something, but to the measures that I had to take to be the best in the mental space to handle all of that, like the ways I had to trick my body and mentally So one of the things is I didn't shoot my bow for like 3 months before I went to the games.
No shit.
Yeah.
How is that helpful?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you why. So when in the previous games, like I've shot, I knew I was the best. I knew I could win. And then I would get there and something happened. And it was out of my control. Like in Rio, a knock broke and put me out, right? I put so much pressure on myself that I've trained for this moment for 4 years. I need to win.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of mentality can come back and bite you. Because then you start putting too much pressure while you're shooting. Let's say you make a bad shot, then you start falling apart because now you just wasted 4 years of your life. I've been there in previous games. I felt that feeling. So I had to tell my body, my brain, that going into this games, like, it didn't matter what happened. Because if I don't do good, I can just blame it on the fact that I didn't prepare. But I had prepared. It was a way of telling myself that it's okay that you don't win.
Uh-huh.
You're capable of
When
winning,
you started that break, though, when you set the bow down, you set the bow down in a position of perfection.
Yeah. I knew it was fine.
No, I mean, like, I don't mean the bow, but you.
Yeah.
Like, when you called it, you were there.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you weren't there, then you couldn't take the break, but you just got there and you knew you were there.
Yep. I knew it.
But then the next arrow you shot wasn't for competition. See, when you got there, you shot a little bit, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Oh.
Like 10, 15 arrows, and then I just rolled right into it.
Were you feeling good?
Oh, yeah. I knew it was over. I knew there was a moment in time during qualification round where I was having a problem with my release, and I took it apart and I cleaned it up, and I went back to shooting, and it was like crisp and clean, and my arrows just instantly went to like the grouping of a 3-inch circle, and I was just like, oh. The last time my release broke, I was in 64th place, and I came back to win the world championship in Dubai, and I was like, oh, that happened now, and sure enough. It's a way of putting it's a way of just going out there and enjoying the moment and not having all the pressure of you have to win. Because I know if I just do what I've trained to do, like, I'm going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's the pressure. Everybody says, oh, it's Olympic or it's the Paralympics, right? And there's all this pressure that you have to perform. But what's the difference between that one and at your house? The ways I train at my house, though, are not what everybody else does either. So, like, I've jumped out of planes. And then I'll land by the target and I'll shoot until my adrenaline wears off. Then I'll jump out of planes and then or
we ought to try that.
Yeah, they're taking notes.
Season 2025.
So I'm not even, I had this idea in 2013 where I
just did that for the first time and holy cow.
It's a blast.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're in an altered state.
No. Because it doesn't help me. I just throw like,
you're in an altered state when you land, man.
But your heart it naturally creates adrenaline, you start pumping. I always thought it'd be cool to jump out of a plane up in Alaska for a grizzly bear hunt and then like land close to one and then shoot a grizzly bear.
You can't hunt same day fly.
I know. So it won't work. But anyway, so I would do that kind of stuff and before
you have to land and sit there.
You have to land and sit there for a day.
Parachuting at 11:58 p.m.
Yeah.
You might be able to do that. But those are the kind of extents of the training that I took. There was a shot that right before I took the 3-month break, I opened the doors of my house and I take my Pro Mod car and I put it out at 100 yards. And then on the backside of it, I put a target with a balloon. And then I take my Olympic medal that I won in London and I wrap it around the balloon. So I have an 8-inch balloon at 100 yards. And then I go on the back side of my house and I shoot through the arrow goes in the back of the house, through the house, out the front door, through a little window in my car about this big, through the car, through the metal, and then hits the balloon. And if I mess up of any of it, I hit the house, hit the car, which is expensive.
Hit the balloon, hit the
metal that I can't replace. Like I added, I was shooting to add value to my shot.
The only thing you do now is you take one of your kids, be like, I want you to stand right
here. Don't move. I actually joke about that one time. I was somewhere and they said, would you ever shoot an apple off someone's head? And I said, I mean, I feel like I'm good enough to not miss the apple, but I can't control the person who's standing there, whether they flinch or whatever. And then I said, but honestly, I guess it really doesn't matter because if I do miss and the guy ended up getting hit, I said, I still am not going to go to jail because I don't leave fingerprints. Anyway.
We're working on this deal. Me and Randall are finishing up this history of the mountain men that we're working on. We did one called the Long Hunters, and it was about the whitetail deerskin trade, Daniel Boone and them. Now we're doing one about the beaver market. So Jim Bridger, Jed Smith, and there's a story that's in there. There's these two guys that used to have a drinking trick where they would shoot cups off each other's heads.
With bows or slingshots? Guns.
They'd shoot cups off each other's heads. It was like a party trick they would do. They get in a big fight over a woman, right?
I forget what it was, but they had a quarrel.
Yeah, they get in a big fight. They eventually patch shit up. And to demonstrate just how good they are with each other, how cool they are now, they go to do their drinking trick, and he smokes the guy.
Oh, no.
You
He
know,
might not have totally gotten over that
He
argument.
was probably definitely not over that argument.
Kills the guy, and then another guy kills that guy. Because he knew.
Because he knew.
It wasn't a mistake.
And then he drowned.
And that guy drowned.
So the moral of the story is don't shoot anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful with your party tricks.
Mm-hmm. The amount of people that die in this thing is unbelievable.
Is that a story online I can read or read about?
You have to listen to it. It's audio original.
Audio? I'm going to have to listen to it.
Yeah, we'll tell you the whole damn story. Either way, when people think, who's the writer that hit somebody with a bow? Burroughs, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, didn't Burroughs? Type that up. I thought Burroughs shot. I think didn't Burroughs kill?
He tried to William Tell somebody.
Yeah, killed somebody, didn't he?
William S. Burroughs.
Type in Burroughs, Apple, Robin Hood.
It was Burroughs.
Thanks, Phil.
Killed her, right?
Yes, and also heavy is the head that wears the crown. That was Henry IV. That was Shakespeare as well. So you're just on a tear today.
Damn, man, and I got Burroughs right. Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn. Burroughs.
How far was the shot on the William Tell, do you think? Considering the technology.
Is it true?
Is that story true?
Yeah,
I
he
think-
killed Joanne Vollmer.
I think it's apocryphal.
according to Wikipedia,
I don't know.
anyways.
He killed her.
Yeah.
Was it a bow or a gun? He didn't get in a hell of a lot of trouble.
In 1951, Burroughs killed Vollmer. It was a drunken attempt at playing William Tell. Doesn't say how far it was.
You know,
Wait,
when
so
you,
she was drunk too?
when you
I
miss,
would
why do people
imagine
always
so.
miss down? Why do they always miss low? How many? You never
Aim at
hear
the
about
top.
the guy that misses high.
You got to aim at the
on an
top of the apple.
Yeah.
I actually know why. I always know why they miss low.
Tell me.
So when you're hunting, do you come from the target down or do you go from the target up?
Do you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
I come from the left.
Okay. I mean that works.
No, I come.
So you do
I've
like
never
a
shot
swing-
an arrow in my life. I don't. I come from the left.
So which way is it? Your pins are they facing the right on your yours?
I shoot left-handed,
Okay.
and I come in from the left. My pin comes in from the left, horizontal.
So you follow the pin in so you can see
Or
basically.
the bow goes across the target. And
Like
then
if I
hits
drew
the
back
pin.
right now, and I'm going to shoot Randall right in the tip
Right
of his nose,
right in his
Well,
apple.
I'd probably hit low,
How
right
about
above his.
imaginary apple.
Okay,
Can
I'm
we
gonna
just go with that?
Yeah, but I'm at okay. I'm gonna draw. Come to draw. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm shooting like how I did when I was a kid. I'm gonna come to draw, and I'm gonna go pop right in the head.
So you move.
The apple's still there.
So you move to the right because your sight pin is on the left side. So if you're moving to the right, you can see what you're coming
Yeah,
into the
I'm
shot.
Sure that's what it is.
Yeah. Well,
I can't. When I used to shoot just like instinctive with no pins, I don't remember what I did. But I've been shooting pins so long. That's how I do it.
I mean, I wouldn't change it if it's working.
I don't know that I wouldn't know. I mean, works like sure sometimes. a lot of the time, not all the time.
A lot of archers, a lot of beginners, for even people that are not beginners, they usually start below the target and come up, which is not bad. I mean, it's bad to do that, but that's probably why they always hit low. They start low and come up. I always start above the target, and then I relax my legs to let the. Then I
Is that
come
right?
in. So you're more at a relaxed state. If you're you got to use muscles to lift it into place, but if you're above it, you can relax to come down.
What's your
So you're
breathing
just calmer.
Like what are you doing like when you're breathing?
I hold my breath actually.
You hold.
Mhm.
You know, I was talking about your form is so straight. You kind of you adjust your mouth a little bit every time.
Mhm.
The left side of your mouth,
Just
it's got a quiver to it.
a little bit.
It's something you do. I was watching that. It's like the same.
Mhm.
Like you got it. You got your form. Your form is like when you shoot. It's like how you shoot. You don't like add new little. You don't add new little things in now and then.
I spent 8 hours a day when I first started shooting for basically 10 or 11 years. Just 8 hours a day. Just that was my life.
Wow.
Do you ever blow a shot on a deer?
It's been a long time. I think in the last 12 years, maybe 2.
Okay.
And it wasn't because I blew it completely. I was, it turned, or it jumped, and it just was a bad shot.
Yeah, like that buck he showed us. He was
Yeah.
like, I should probably get going.
Yeah, he knew it was
He had a
coming.
little-
Yeah.
He knew it was coming. But I led that one. I was like, he was in the open field, and I knew. I took the gamble because I was hoping he would go forward versus duck it.
Mm-hmm.
But the gamble was good on that one.
Yeah.
Do you have any dream hunts? Elk, guy, I don't know,
elk.
other critters.
Elk and grizzly bear. I want to shoot a grizzly bear. I want to be like on the ground too. I don't want to be up in a tree stand. I can hunt really good off the ground. So with the short axle bows, I don't need a chair or nothing. I can just sit right on the ground and I like that. I like the adventures of that. And so someday I've had several people offer me grizzly bear hunts in exchange for like some promotional things, but it always fell over like some major tournament. So that's one of the reasons why I want to retire from the competition side, because I want to eventually these guys are going to stop saying, hey, do you want to come hunt? Because it's been 3 or 4 years of me saying sure, and then wait, I got something that came up, and I want to take advantage of that. And I would love to elk hunt at some point too.
This is probably a stupid question, but I mean, when you're hunting, what percentage of the time are you wearing? You're obviously, when you're in a shot situation, you're not wearing shoes. Like on a grizzly bear hunt or something like that, or like when you're hiking in, are you hunting in bare feet a lot, or are you taking your shoes off before you shoot? Like, what's the strategy there?
The joke that I always tell everybody is, especially if you're hunting when it's cold out in a stand in Iowa, it really takes a lot. It takes a good deer for me to want to take off my sock and shoe in 3-degree weather.
You got like a boot you just slip on when you're up there to keep warm?
Yeah, I got like a quick boot. But now I have they make toe socks.
Yeah.
And they actually have toe shoes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
and you have the dexterity.
And I have the dexterity that I can still use those.
Oh, that works?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you should. It's good that this is a good platform to bring up that you'd like to go elk and grizzly hunting. Tell people how to find you.
Okay. So, where do I begin? Facebook is kind of like my main platform. So if you go under the Armless Archer, you can always send me messages there. I do have Instagram and Twitter that I'm working on building.
Okay.
And I believe they are Armless Archer.
That's one of the
and then I might have Armless Matt as well on one of them.
There's a theme there.
There's a theme there.
I also think that someone should be able to make you some Gutton gloves. So it'd be like, you'd prefer it to be like a thumbless mitten.
Basically, yeah. As long as I have a dexterity. So if you on my big toe and the toe.
Do you want
right
a pocket
beside
for
it.
your big toe coming off the side of that sucker?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if anybody listening deals in that kind of stuff.
So when
It'd be a nice little thing.
When I got into the racing side of things, ironically, one of the things that kept me from going 200 miles an hour was the fact that I didn't have the proper foot gloves as far as safety, fireproof.
Oh.
So last year, a company, Stand 21, made me full-on custom, like the highest fireproof rated sock foot gloves on the market. And so now this year, coming into this next year, I'll be able to do 200 miles an hour legally without getting in trouble.
And you got fire retardant foot gloves.
Fire retardant foot gloves. So I know there's a way. To make these gloves work. For even if there was a better glove that I could wear for hunting, right? Like that was warmer than a skinny shoe or something like that.
You know what you might try out, man? I think it might be a good product for you to look into. Is there's a company called Wiggies.
Wiggies.
Yeah, Wiggy.
Okay.
Wiggies, and he makes like a overboot, a muckluck overboot.
Mm-hmm.
That's like unbelievable. It's meant to be that you can put it over your height. You can put it over your boot, but a lot of like stand sitters in super cold areas, you can just go to your stand in your freaking sneakers.
Really?
And put that thing on. But I have a set of them, and the way they're lined and mega insulated, you'd be able to just put, if you had your sock on or whatever the hell, and you're in your stand, you just be able to drop your foot in there and just lift it right out of there.
Really?
And you couldn't possibly get cold.
So here's a question for them then, because I've had.
Can you just buy one?
Yeah, I only need right foot.
So if there's anyone that wants to go in on a set of boots with Matt,
I did have a deer get spooked one time when I took off my sock, and I was like, I know I washed my feet, but walking in, if you're sweating,
Yeah.
So like that's one of the things I tried to not like it's okay to have my foot a little bit colder. It's okay to freeze it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because walking in, if you're sweating in your foot and you have to take off your shoe to shoot, then you get a little bit of that odor going.
Dude, I'll tell you what I would do, man. If I didn't have any arms, I'd take one of those boots I'm talking about, and I'd hot glue that son of a bitch to a little piece of plywood. So it's sitting there, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I would just very gingerly
slide
that's
it right
my foot
out.
coming out of there. Because it's hot glued to a board. Or I'd hot glue the son of a bitch right to my stand.
You just have
leave
to put
it
them
up
in
there.
there. You have to do it. I would need like 30 gloves. I got sands everywhere. So
You come out there, it's full of snow or water.
Who wants to sponsor me 30 of them?
No, when I leave, if I didn't have any arms, I'd take a 5-gallon bucket.
Yep.
And I'd set it right over that boot.
Oh,
Keep the rain and snow out.
See, he's thought this all through.
All of your problems are solved.
Steve, the engineer.
So you need a bunch of boots and some 5-gallon buckets. You need a bucket sponsor.
You need a bucket sponsor. That would work. I think a lot of it though is I play the wind. I have to think about the foot thing quite a bit. So I play the wind, and I like to be somewhat mobile-ish. So
all right, so don't glue your boot
yeah,
to the board.
don't glue the boot
to the board is out.
No, I one time on accident I stayed at a buddy's place, and he had a log fire to heat his hunting cabin, and I remember going out in the woods that night or that morning, and I'm like, oh, all my stuff, I forgot. Everything smells like smoke, just reeks of like wood fire.
Yeah,
that was like one of my most successful weeks I've ever had. I was sitting by a tree. It was still dark out, and I had a doe just walk from here to the camera, just beep, and like smelled my clothes, and then walked off. I'm like, what? There is something to the smoke.
we're in wired to hunt territory now, but yeah, man, like there's a lot of opinion out there about how how ungulates regard the smell of smoke.
Yeah.
Like how omnipresent it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then also when you have smoke on you, is it covering it, or is it that there's the smell of smoke, which is there, but also there's the smell of you?
Right.
And it's just like, it's not that one overrides the other. It's just that there's two things happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's smoky.
Yeah.
And there's a dude. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be great. I'd like to have a show. If I ever do another podcast, it's going to be where I interview game animals.
You're going to need a medium to talk to them through.
Yeah, I'd have a big buck in.
Okay.
And I'd be like, okay, like during the rut, man, you're kind of out. You're out a lot.
Yeah.
You're out walking around a lot during the rut. Like, are you nervous?
I've been run over by deer before. I've been run over by a deer during
It was
rut.
hit.
Huh?
That was hit?
No, I was sitting on the ground. I was laid into the stand, and there was this brush pile. I was like, I'm gonna sit by this brush pile on the ground, and I hear all this noise, and the next thing I know, like I'm just like on my face, and the doe was being chased by a buck,
Huh.
and they went right between where I was sitting, and he just ran right into me, and I'm laying there, and he stops like he hit me, and he's standing over the top of me, and I'm like,
What?
Yeah, and I look up at him, and like I can see his belly. I'm like,
No way.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
I'm just like laying there trying to figure out what happened. And then he goes and took off running. I'm like, oh, now you smell me. Like,
Had to blow at you, though.
yeah.
my old man got hit by a buck, and he got injured, but he got injured by his own arrow when he got run over. He got run over by a buck and cut his hand pretty good with his own arrow. He had an arrow knocked, and somehow the arrow got like blown right off. The broadhead came around and got him. That was the only injury he got from getting hit by a buck.
Man, talk about karma.
Yeah, sure.
Does that speak a lot about the broadheads?
You know, this is back in the, I don't know if you remember, like, this is back in the days when, you remember those,
they're made out of rock.
No, like those steel, like deltas. You remember, like, with the bleeders? Remember those green, like, kind of riveted delta points, and they, you know, you'd take your wooden arrow and bevel that wooden arrow down to a point, and that delta point came with a cone. It was like built on a cone, and you'd get that hot, you know, that heat adhesive and put them on there. It was back in those days.
I'm nodding like I remember.
You got to appreciate how old I am, man. It's getting.
You're not old.
No, well, here's the deal. I'm getting up there enough where I now have like recollections about stuff that people are like, what? I'm like, I'm telling you, man.
That
was like, yeah, I'm like, I'm telling you, dude. That was like a thing, man. You know, trying to call the cops and like couldn't find the phone. Or like die like.
Have you seen the video of the kids who didn't know how to run one of those phones?
Oh no, they have no. My kids would have no idea. Yeah. When you see they need to change the icon. The phone icon still has like the phone with the curly cord hooked to it. Dude, I remember like deliberately thinking like, I wonder if someday. I remember getting a cell phone and being like, I wonder if someday you could just get rid of a landline, and having like a revolutionary thought. You know,
should have patented it.
Should have. And then I remember a lot of old bow and arrow stuff, man. I remember when flipper rests came out, and that was a big deal because everybody shot off the shelf.
Mm-hmm. The flipper rest were
things I remember.
I've lost ear to flipper rest actually, not working properly or whatever. Yeah. Technology.
Do you remember Ben Pearson Archery?
No.
Well,
I know of Pearson Archery. Yes, but okay. I never met him.
Oh no, I don't know that I know Ben Pearson.
Never shook his
hand.
I
got to meet when I was a little kid. I remember Fred Bear bought me dinner one time. Oh, that was a good joke. Took me a sec. Anyways, I ate lunch one time on Fred Bear's dime.
Wow.
Yeah, back when I was a little.
Was he
kid.
pretty cool? Was he a pretty cool dude?
Dude, I was so young. I was with my old man, my dad was very big into the like early bow hunting, like 50s, like trying to get bow seasons and all that. You know, he was really big into archery in the 50s. Like when he come home from World War II, he got into archery. So he was like very involved in that early stage archery stuff. And I remember we were at a thing. Fred Bear was there. I was with my old man. Fred Bear paid for lunch. And I remember this dude name. There's a dude there. I remember his first name was Babe. And he had cowboy boots on. And I remember him telling me the best thing about these boots is I can kill cockroaches that are in the corner. I remember, dude, like I remember that. Like I remember those little details, like it was yesterday, man.
Wow.
You think that dude played baseball?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
No. I just remembered his last name because my dad was buddies with him. His name was Babe Johnson. And my old man had a thing. He had a big sash. You know, like a Girl Scout sash is. Mm-hmm. This is the goofiest thing. He belonged to this club where if you could kill something with a bow, you'd get a patch.
Like a merit badge.
Yeah, and he had everything on the planet.
Wow.
Frogs, freaking owls, whatever, like owls. And you'd like sew it. I wish I had that sash. And you'd get a patch and you'd sew it on there. And it was like, because they were so big into being like, a bow can do anything. A bow can kill an owl. Oh my God! I killed a frog with a bow. I could kill my neighbor with this bow if I felt like it. It was just like all this kind of crazy 1950s archery shit, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't born yet, but it was like I grew up in the aftermath of all that.
The technology definitely has come a long ways, though,
Mhm.
from wooden bows and wooden arrows and broadheads that you gotta glue and make.
Yeah, it has, but the mental game hasn't changed, though, right?
Nah, mental game.
There's still a lot of people that suck at shit. There's a lot of people that panic.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
I had I don't really want to call him out, but I have a buddy. I have a buddy who's a muscle. He's like into muscle building, so he's this big, huge muscle guy, and he loves to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shooting turkeys with him one day.
I can think of a handful of.
Me too. So, but every time he would shoot, and if he would hit something, he would like go to gagging.
He gag.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think just from all the adrenaline or
Oh,
something.
I got a buddy that pukes after he gets stuff.
Yeah, just gets all just.
I've seen it
hyped
happen.
up. He gets so hyped up. It's kind of funny. He'd always like shut the camera off, and I just keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird, man. Yeah, this one buddy I got, I've seen him do it. He'll
Yeah.
get something and then puke, and then he's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Yep. Just fine right away afterwards.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Huh.
Maybe just the excitement and the adrenaline just goes nuts. They don't know how to control it. Maybe.
Hmm.
Maybe they should shoot more target. I will say though that hunting has helped me be a better target archer, and target archer has made me a better hunter. As far as not hunting, but as far as shot placement and just being able to make the best decisions while I was out in the woods.
I imagine the competitive learning how to deal with the competition.
Yeah.
Just learning how to deal with, because there's a thing, man. Like part of what you mess up is that you want it so bad and you can't deal with the emotion.
Yeah.
And you just shot under so much pressure so many times that a little pressure is not unusual to you.
Yep. And I get hungry still. With an animal, it's you don't get lots of usually it's like a one and done. You sit there all day for one shot, and you got to make it count, right? Like for me, I always thought like shooting under pressure has helped me in that scenario. I've actually missed bucks because I took too long to do my process. Not missed them. They just went out of range.
Chance.
Yeah, missed the chance.
Yeah. Well, man, thanks for coming on the show, dude.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This happened
Thanks
quick
so much,
too,
man.
because someone sent us something, and I'm like, I told Chris, man, let's get that guy, or she said we should get this guy, or whatever, and here we are.
Listen, I definitely appreciate it because, first of all, I've seen your episodes, and then my agent Scott, I think you were in touch with him. He was telling me like just everybody that you've had on the podcast. I was like, this guy's not just a hunter and all this other stuff. He's like really good at podcasting. Like he's like a legit guy.
Good at podcasting.
No, I mean it's an honor that you wanted me to be a part of it, and I thought it was like this perfect way to just kind of launch my hunting stuff on social media and the next step of where Matt's going. And not that I was using you for that, but
you can use it wherever you want, man.
I definitely appreciate you guys having me on here it's been awesome.
Yeah, we'll plug it. Where do people go to look at it?
The Armless Archer.
Just same. Okay.
Yeah, under the same stuff. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. Congratulations on all those successes.
Thanks.
On the gold medal, on the retirement.
On the 200 miles an hour.
Is it ever
200 miles an hour?
Is it ever retired?
No, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Because I think I'm just retiring from the competition side. That's it. I'm still going to shoot my
chapter.
bows. Yeah. Now I'm going to, get to walk around and enjoy adventures in the woods and mountains. And in fact, when I opened my window this morning, I looked up, saw the mountain, and I was like, I probably should have stayed a couple days and spent a day up there.
Oh, go hiking.
Yeah, go hiking. That stuff is...
You can run that whole ridge.
Run the whole ridge. I just want to come running down with people watching. I'm like, there's a bear.
He got my arms.
He's got my arms.
All right, man. Thanks again.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt.
I called up my cousin Joe. He said he saw a good one today, standing on the north side of the hay barn in the Pippin place. He's probably bedded in that big old cedar patch. Always holds a couple doors in the morning. I bet he's back. Maybe I'll go slip down there and see what I can see. Might take Dad's old 30-30, be like he's back here with me on opening day. Man, I can hardly wait. It's always the second Saturday in November. It's my favorite time of year. Ain't just about hunting deer, making memories that are gonna last forever. And it's just icing on the cake if a big one walks my way on opening day. And Betty always makes breakfast. I love her homemade cinnamon rolls. And we'll sit around a table talking about where everybody's gonna go. And $5 gets you into the Schultz's big buck pot. Only rule is if you win, you buy the first round at the hub. Now, stop and see them old Hicks boys down at the hunting shack. Been the same way around here for years, man, I can't wait to come back on opening day. Yeah, I can hardly wait. Always the second Saturday in November. It's my favorite time of year. Ain't just about hunting deer, making memories that are gonna last forever. It's just icing on the cake if a big one walks my way on opening